Canucks lose to the Jets, but I thought they played pretty damn well. I'm going to go over the game, and then after that I'm going to talk about the Tim Peel referee incident. So if you just want the game stuff, we'll go over that now. And if you want to hear some more ideas about Tim Peel and the referee crap, I'm going to put that after this. So, in this game, I thought the Canucks played pretty well. It didn't feel like a 4-0 game. They just don't have the top-end talent like Winnipeg has. And this is what's going to happen. But I think that they're trending in the right direction. So, there was a real stop-and-start feel to open up this game. A few Winnipeg players were getting stung by shots, some icings, an eventual really weak Brock Besser penalty when a Jet player fell on his ass trying to do a spin move. I mean, I guess it kind of looks like a trip, but if you're going to spin around like an idiot and fall, is it really Brock Besser's fault? Is Brock Besser the kind of guy you think is going to be doing tripping penalties? It also felt like with the refereeing in this game that the referees were on high alert. They felt very tense. They were calling slightly differently, and they must have obviously had a gigantic meeting after what happened to Tim Peel getting benched for the remainder of his referee career, 1 month. So Demko was looking fantastic as usual to start the game off. He was just playing in such a groove that the weird bounces he made look easy. He was in the right spot, not overreacting. He's really incredible. Hopefully he can continue this groove when he comes back out of the break, and hopefully for the next 8 years or so as the Canucks number one. I thought Horavich, the guy, number 44, he's looking good as a bottom six center. He had 2 or 3 effective forechecks to start the game off, getting possession and pressure, not panicking. He looks like he belongs out there. The McEwen forecheck gets control against 2 Jets. McEwen against 2 Jets in deep. He gets a pass back to Hughes for offensive zone time. He's been looking great this year, but I bet you anything they're going to bench him when they bring those guys back. He always seems to have to sit it out. Every time Roussel plays over this guy, it drives me bonkers. Howrluck and Vesey had a really beautiful give and go through the neutral zone that developed into some of their best chances of that period. It blows my mind we can get this much improvement for less than $1 million each. The middle and bottom six, they don't need to be all-stars, but they can be positive influences on the puck, creating room and chances for their more talented players to put it in. Vesey, if you could have this guy going forward on your third line, or like a fourth line scoring thing, or like a second liner in a pinch, he's good, man. He hasn't been able to score, but the team hasn't been able to score, and he's super impressive when he has the puck. He's able to stick handle in a phone booth. He can take on multiple Jet players. He's good on the forecheck. He's really fast. He's got a good pass. He's kind of like a less angry JT and less talented JT Miller. And, Toronto just has so much forward talent that it was easy for them probably to get rid of him. Isn't it crazy, though, that the Canucks could probably trade this guy and get a pick for him after he's shown what he can do, and the Leafs just are in such a tight situation they couldn't even trade him for anything at all? Jake actually had a nice shift. I always shit on Jake, but he had a nice shift near the end of the first period. He was hounding the puck, creating a turnover in possession. It's the little things. That's all I want to see, Jake. Just do the little things. The goals will come when the little things are done. In the second period, speaking of Jake and Vesey, there was a hilarious moment. Vesey and Virtanen both go to the net at the same time. They're basically playing the same position. They look like Siamese twins. But Vesey gets his stick on every puck. He gets some great chances. It's like when you're playing a racing game or Mario Kart and you're doing a time trial and you're racing the ghost and you're trying to stay in the ghost. That was like that with Jake, where he was just one step behind everything Vesey was doing. Less intense, less smart with his stick, less hand-eye coordination. And Vesey was able to do everything that you want Jake to do, but just better, way better. It was really just a hilarious side-by-side comparison of their hockey sense and their effectiveness. The Canucks start the second period strong. They got the first 8 shots and some good chances, but Connor Hellebuyck is one of the best goalies in the NHL, if not the best. And he had an incredible game, and he has the Canucks number. I mean, Winnipeg didn't get a nice chance until about 5 minutes in, but Hellebuyck won this game. He was basically Cop getting his 4 goals, and Hellebuyck letting in 0 goals. That beat the Canucks. There was a really weird play where the Canucks had a delayed penalty, and then they just decided to play defense with 6 skaters in the D zone. And there was a hilarious, I don't know who posted it on Twitter, where they showed six Canucks skaters and still so much missed coverage. The Jets bench wanted 2 penalties. The refs just settled on a too many men call. I think the refs have enough controversy. The refs seem really shook by these recent events to go, we'll just make this call. You can tell, like, anytime people are arguing to the refs, they put their head down like, nope, this is the way we're doing it. And that's the way you got to be. You got to be confident and do it. I guess the explanation is maybe, and this is what Shorthouse, I think, was saying, is that perhaps it was a too many men penalty, so they just went out there and tried to commit it again. But, I mean, if you're wanted for murder and you just keep murdering people, you're still going to get more of a murder charge. That the Canucks got away with one there. The Jets power play, they get a high point shot through for a high, perhaps too high deflection. Could have been high sticking, and they score. It was just like clockwork. They hopped on the power play, and a nice shot and a nice tip, and there's nothing Demko was going to do about it. VC and Miller after this had a monster shift, pinning the Jets D in their zone. The VC forecheck, just he was so good on the forecheck. Miller was buzzing around above the net in the hash marks. The play was going so well the Canucks could go for a line change, and this is where McEwen jumped on the ice as Jake was going towards the bench. McEwen jumped on a little too early. Jake, his body language was that he was going to the bench. He had put his stick down, sort of like putting a sword into a sheath. But a quick pass back to Jake, and he reactively touched it, causing another too many men penalty. Nice. The Jets ran a great power play, point shot tip, rebound goal. What are you going to do? So that's 2 power play goals for the Jets back-to-back, stymieing the Canucks' momentum. What are they going to do after that? Well, they actually looked pretty determined after that second Jets goal. They were hard on pucks, getting offensive possession with intensity. Schmid was doing good work to keep the play alive. They showed a replay of Ben slowly dangling in deep, and he got hooked like crazy. But refs call those penalties based on the player. If it's an offensive player who gets hooked a lot, they call that stuff. If it's Jordy Ben, he's not going to get that call. I have another note here for VC on the forecheck. This is crazy. He used his body to throw a nice proactive hit and take control of the puck as it's ringing around the boards. The guy had an incredible game. The Canucks are down 2-0 at this point, and I was looking for the positives. In the ensuing play, Mott and the 6'7" Jet, I forget his name, go to the boards. Stanley, is that his name? Oh yeah, Big Stanley. So he has his arms up kind of high. He gets a high sticking penalty. Kind of felt more like a clothesline. I mean, it's one of those, you're tall, he's short. You go to the boards. Chris Pronger would get these all the time. It is a dangerous play, and he can't help it because of the size discrepancy. You have to be more careful. It's not super fair, but you're trying to keep people safe out there and not getting elbows and shoulders to the head. The Canucks power play that got off of this was intense. It's what you want to see. VC was doing some great playmaking. He was a good screen front presence. He got a nice tip that went off Hellbuck's head and out. After this, though, Myers on a long shift and the Canucks ice it. Myers gets stuck in his zone even longer. He's totally depleted, goes over to the sideboards. Hamonic has possession, pretty low pressure situation, and instead of going left or up the middle or holding on to it and letting Myers get off, he goes right to Myers and passes it to him. Myers doesn't want the puck, gets checked immediately, comes back in, and the Jets score in front of an exhausted Myers who just can't do anything. That's a bad play, Hamonic. Read the room. In the third period, more good work from McEwen down low. He was down on the Winnipeg end. A puck comes away from him. It looks like there's no way he can get it, but he dives, falls down, reaches his stick out. Would have been an easy play to just say, just start skating and try to get it back again. But it's that little bit of effort does just enough that the Canucks get the puck back because of it. You know, McEwen really did everything you could want. Other than taking the stupid penalty with the too many men on the ice. Could maybe blame Jake on that, but Zach also got on too early. The guy fought. The guy was good in the forecheck. He did everything he could want from a fourth line winger. In the Canucks zone, Hughes checks and cross-checks a Jet, knocks the guy down, puck is loose, VC pounces on it, flies through the neutral zone, drifts a nice pass to the all-alone Jake Virtanen, who hits the post. But Jake was in the right spot, and VC made it happen. Too bad they couldn't score there. Howrluck in front looking for a rebound, but Hellbuck covers it up. Big skyscraper Stanley, the 6'7" guy, comes over to grab the much smaller Howrluck. Howrluck does not back off. He's trash-talking Stanley, looking up to him. Howrluck's a really fun little player. Another great fourth liner. It seems like the Canucks they've got a couple legitimate stars on the top, and then they got a bunch of guys where you think, hey man, they're great fourth liners. But Elevating everybody to the second and third line is where the Canucks struggle. Or the first line, in some points, too. It's good to see some fight, though, and especially with Howard, down 3-0 in the third. I know some people who are, maybe they're the analytics crowd, they like to trash talk the idea of chemistry and leadership and emotion, but you watch a team, and hockey is a game of momentum and back and forth, and when a team's getting beaten down, there's these moments where they're going to give up that extra percent, or they're going to be pulled into the fight and keep fighting and stick it out. And that's the difference between really great teams and bad teams. And yeah, they didn't win here, but when they have a better team, you want guys like Howard out there that'll help drag you to it. I mean, the best teams can go down a couple goals, keep playing their game, don't panic, and in the third period, they win deterred. Canucks just can't solve Connor Hellebuyck. They're hitting a ton of posts tonight, too, every time they could solve them. They pull the goalie, and Kopp scores a hat trick from long range. Winding the game down, harmless shot from the corner point. Demko rebounds it. Myers just sort of lets Kopp walk in and get his fourth fucking goal. Kopp scores 4 goals. That's got to hurt for Demko. While Myers is spinning on the ice like a top. More garbage time goals, though. Höglander spoils the shutout. Yeah, that's our boy Höglander. There was a lazy play behind the Jets net, causes a turnover, a shot, bouncy rebounds, just a bouncing garbage time puck going everywhere. Höglander, with the hockey sense, finds the puck in the right spot, good stick, puts it away. Canucks get a goal. The Canucks buzzer goes off real loud. I saw, A-Dog, Halford and Broff's old producer, said, if you're down 4-0, your goal horn should legally be required to be a kazoo. I thought that was pretty hilarious. Speaking of A-Dog and Halford and Brough are going to be back on Sportsnet 650 starting this Monday. If you're watching this in the future, then it probably is already on. I guess March 29th, would it be? They're back on their 6 a.m. spot. I'm a big fan of these guys. I put a video up earlier when Team 1040 was shut down, so unceremoniously. I've gone over it before, but I've been listening to Halford and Brough for a long time, whether I'm living in BC, whether I'm out in the middle of nowhere, Alberta and Saskatchewan, working seismic, really in the middle of nowhere, 15 hours from civilization, in camps, in minus 35 degree weather. Those guys were a big part of my entertainment while I was working, and it's lonely out there. And when I'm in Europe, downloading their podcasts and being out here in Ottawa and Quebec, where I'm far away from the Canucks, and those guys have always felt like home. So it's going to be really great to hear their show. They're still back in the morning, but only 3 hours instead of 4 hours, so it's probably going to feel pretty easy for them. Interesting to see, now that they have had a bit of time off, what kind of new ideas they're going to bring to their show, and maybe a new kind of respect for it, perhaps. I know Halford, it's kind of his sense of humor to self-deprecate and say, we're not good at radio, and we're terrible at talking. And, I kind of think you got to be careful about what you say and what you wish for. And I guess it's a joke, but there's much funnier jokes you can make. I know, because he's made them. Halford is a funny guy. But I think you should take a bit of ownership for being good. He should just go completely the other way and be trash-talking, alter confident, alter ego, like Ralph Rantanego. All right, that's the Canucks coverage for today. If you want to stay tuned for some talk about the referee situation, I'm going to talk about that right now. All right, this Tim Peel referee incident, I think it's a symptom of a much bigger problem, where what he said and what he did is what any hockey fan has seen referees do every game. We're well aware of this, and I think, what are you going to do about it? Okay, like that, because it is a symptom of a much bigger problem. I was thinking there's a few options. The easiest option, what you could do, is you could start calling a ton of penalties, but you reduce the penalties to 1 minute. You call a lot more of them. The penalties are now only 1 minute. And you also don't allow the penalty-killing team to ice the puck. It's kind of stupid that a team that commits an infraction is now rewarded the ability to ice the puck. I really hate that. And you just need a minute. Doesn't take up as much of the game. And you just want to see the first line unit get out there anyway, right? Who wants to see the third liners come out? It's nice when they score and when they can contribute as well, but you know what I mean? It's all about getting those guys out there. I mean, really, power plays are kind of stupid. They've been around forever, but why are you playing 5-on-4? It's a 5-on-5 game. It's kind of silly. Maybe more penalty shots. Here's another thing you could do. I don't know. This is much more extreme, and I think that nobody running the NHL is going to want to make an extreme change because you don't want to be known as the person that made the extreme change that was not liked, right? And it would take a lot of courage to do that. But all right, here's what we're thinking. Also, before I get to the more extreme ideas, what I'd like to get to is why can the players and the coaches yell at the refs? If I was a ref, I'd tell the player, hey, why don't you go sit down and take a little rest with your Gatorade sippy bottle, you lazy fuck. I'll be out of here skating up and down all night. I mean, players are big, intimidating, younger. They're in the prime of their lives. They're mostly millionaires. And the coaches, too. If the refs are supposed to control the game and have authority, they should be given respect and authority. The players treating them like shit obviously is going to contribute to resentment, to evening up, slanted calls. Penalties are already very objectionable and frequently occurring while only called, like the infractions, you're seeing them all the time on almost every play, and they're only calling a small percentage of them. So calling an even amount of them, like 4 for you and 3 for them, that's also ridiculous. So I think the easiest thing is give the refs more power. Back talking to the players can get you an extra minute or two for unsportsmanlike. And just keep calling the penalties until they get it. Like, how many times do you see hooks, slashes, holding? Tripping is one of those where a lot of times you see and you can tell the player intentionally did it. Other times their skate hit the other guy's skate. I guess they're supposed to try to avoid it. But yeah, that's the easiest thing. Give the refs more power because it's just ridiculous. I mean, players are skating right up to their face and screaming at them and swearing at them. That's going to affect the ref's mental state and how he's going to call it. And my other idea was, just to summarize, 1-minute penalties, call a lot more of them, and don't let the penalty killing team ice the puck. Here is a much more extreme idea. Do away with most penalties. If someone, like hooking, tapping the gloves, hacking the stick, that kind of stuff that's not hurting people, that is limiting their ability to score in a way, or their possession of the puck, do it like soccer and football, where you just give them possession and a free shot, like in soccer, and you advance their positioning, like in football. So say Quinn Hughes is breaking out in the D zone, and somebody hooks them, the Canucks get to start in the neutral zone, and the way they could do it is like soccer, where Quinn Hughes gets to have the puck at center ice, and no player can come within like 3 meters of that. You add a small little measurement on the end, kind of like yardage in football, and the Canucks and everybody can go out, and the ref kind of blows the whistle. Quinn Hughes has got 2 seconds to either grab the puck and move forward or make a pass. And if it happens in the neutral zone, you let them have it in the offensive zone. If it happens in front of the net, then maybe a penalty shot. Or that's the main thing. That's going to be the toughest, is when somebody has a really good scoring chance. What are you going to do when they're in the offensive zone? If they're just kind of like circling around behind the net, you can give it to them at the hash marks. You can give it to them in the slot. I mean, if you give it to them in the slot, they're going to be able to take a shot. Are players going to line up in front of their goalie? I don't know. I mean, a penalty shot is kind of ridiculous. I'm not really a big fan of those because they don't really simulate a breakaway in a game anyway. A breakaway is supposed to be the puck comes flying at you. You need to skate as fast as you can so you don't get caught and then make a move. Penalty shots are go really slow, go left and right, and just looks fucking stupid. It looks like you're watching Pee-wee hockey. I hate penalty shots. But yeah, I think that could work. And I think you could also get rid of faceoffs. So if there's an icing as well, instead of a face-off on the other end, you give possession to the other team, like soccer, and they get it at the blue line. So you put the puck in the blue line, give it to Quinn Hughes. People get in motion. Quinn Hughes, the ref tells him go, blows the whistle. He's got a second to move it. Touch that puck. We're in play, and the other players have to stay 3 feet away until they blow the whistle. So I think that could be way more exciting. More like, what are face-offs anyway? It's just this random I mean, people are better at it than others, so there is a element of it. But even like some of the best people at faceoffs, what are they getting, like 70, 80% or something on there? It's the puck going down and whacking at it. They're okay. They're not a bad solution. But I think that you could really, I think you could improve the game with it. It would be really courageous for somebody to go out and do this. But just imagine, like, way less whistles, keep the play moving, grab the puck, give it to them. They just set it up, and just you're going. You're fast and fast and fast. I mean, soccer has the sidelines, so it's an easy place for the player to stay out, and it's bigger, and it's easier for them to move the ball around. But I don't know. I think you could rethink it, and I think that could make a lot of sense. It's kind of a crazy idea, but even just something else, I think that they really need to rethink it. They either need to start calling more. The refs definitely need more respect, and they need to get this mentality from the refs of, like, stop evening things up. Stop calling based on the game. I remember watching hockey with my dad, and, like, you know, he's been watching bad reffing in the NHL for his whole life, and when when him and my stepmom, because I love watching games with them, when they're complaining about calls to the ref, I usually say, look, right now that other team is playing better. Whatever team is playing better and has the momentum, they're going to get less calls. And it makes sense because the team falling behind is going to start taking more risks, and they're going to start playing more loose. But really, that's what's happening, is that the refs are calling it. They're humans, and they're skating out there, and they're probably a bit tired too, running up and down, and all that stuff affects it. So that was my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Is that totally crazy? Is it something we can do? But I think that what they did do is basically nothing. A guy that they don't value as a referee, who's never reffed the Stanley Cup final game, who's 1 month away from retirement, is not reffing any more games. Big fucking deal. So they need to do something else. Now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do some experimenting. So if you guys made it this far, thank you very much for watching this. You know the deal on YouTube. If you like it, or subscribe, or share it with anybody, it really, really helps. It's nice to get it out there, but I really appreciate you spending these minutes with me, and I'll talk to you after the next game. Actually, no, I'll probably talk to you before then, because it's a week until the next game, so I'll think of some other things to talk about. Bye for now.